Okay everybody, so here's part 3. Sorry it took me so long to get it done, but quite honestly, I forgot to do it. If somebody hadn't posted, where's part 3? I might have forgotten to do it. So, here it is. It's pretty much done. I'll point out a couple things that I've still got left to do, but for the most part, it's done. It's on the road, driving it, enjoying it. A couple things that issues that I've had, I'll point out, nothing major, but so one of the things I did, I'll kind of point out right away, is that the wheels, only a couple of them, but you know, they had curb rash, and so I took them in to a rim place, you know, got them redone. I also put new tires on it. The old ones weren't too bad, but you know, eventually they wouldn't have passed inspection, so figured I'd do that. So let me start, I guess, with a couple small blemishes on the body that not sure if I'd done them or they were already there, just didn't notice, but if you look real close, you'll see some fine scratches right here. Kind of along the back of the spoiler, up here along the glass, but the biggest one, I'm not sure how this happened, but isn't too bad, but there's a scratch right there. Oh, and yes, by the way, for anybody that's wondering, I've pulled fuse F22. Didn't really take much to think about it, but certainly a lot more fun. Don't have to punch it to get it to open up. So let me go around. Let me talk a little bit about the things on the front first, since that's where a lot of the damage was. Oh, and oh, by the way, yes, it's true. These wheels are awful with brake dust. You know, I wipe them down. I just wiped them down because I knew I'd be doing a video, but anyways. So, the fenders, right? I replaced both of those. Well, I did. Now, they weren't new fenders. They were used ones I got off of eBay. One of them was actually black, but you know, it was so kind of almost like a flat black. But the other one was a grayish silver, and so those were repainted. Both headlights I replaced. One of them I thought I could keep, but it turns out it was cracked and it just wasn't all that good. So I got what I consider to be a really good deal. 2 of these used headlights for $1,000, so $500 a piece. I obviously pulled the guts, pulled the ballast and everything from the old ones and put them in here, but those work okay. Now the front grille obviously was pretty damaged in the accident. There were pieces of it, and as you might expect, replacement grills are pretty expensive. So I found another one that it was kind of pieces of it, and between the old one and the new one, I managed to put enough together, and I painted it black, and I actually like it black. You know, I like the look of the carbon fiber one that you can get on the Vantage S, but not paying $1,500 for that yet. It's not perfect, but you know, I notice it, but most people probably don't. But also there's a kind of a chin lip spoiler that goes under the bottom there. You know, it takes scrapes and stuff from the curb, and it was cracked, so I'm just going to probably replace that. It just kind of screws on. Nothing major, but so let me show you under the hood. Okay, so under the hood here, it's pretty standard. You know, from the last video, there wasn't really much damage here. I didn't really want to replace this big cover here, just because I think it's mostly a beauty piece. I was maybe being a little cheap, but it actually does help the hood stop in the correct spot and latch properly without having to have 2 people kind of open it. Managed to actually pull the old badge, so Dean Britton gets the credit he deserves. It also provides a little bit of locating for the radiator, but in through here I replaced the input air box, which was basically plastic. I replaced the AC condenser coil as I said I was going to. That was the only thing I really replaced. I straightened some of the fins on the power steering cooling. That's pretty much it. So the engine itself has been pretty good. The only thing I had with it, which is apparently, come to find out, a known issue with this car, is that one of the idler pulleys at the bottom started to squeak, and so I replaced that. At the same time, you have to replace a serpentine belt, and since I didn't know when the last time that was done, I did it anyway, so it was about $100. Fixed that. I've added some oil, which is, you buy it at the store, it's called supercar oil. But so I did that. You know, I'm going to bring it in probably to the dealership for an oil change, and just so that they can see what else is wrong. But I also replaced all of the struts. So I've replaced these front struts in the hood. I replaced the ones for the door. You know, those are known to go bad, and when you have the fenders off, it's an easy thing to do. I also replaced the ones for the back trunk. Let's see what else. Okay, so this hood, right? So this hood I got, it's a used hood, but it was used and it was in an accident. So it was kind of curved in the front, and the body shop, like a lot of body shops nowadays, unfortunately, they just want to replace everything. Oh, new panel, new panel. But I found one that was actually willing to rework it a little bit, and it wasn't too bad, and I think you'll agree they did a pretty amazing job. Now the paint, in terms of the paint, you know, it's a kind of this black metallic paint. I don't know if you can see it in the light, but so the fenders were painted and the doors were not. So if you look at it in the right light, you can tell it doesn't match. I wanted to have them fix some of the scratches, but they would have basically had to repaint the whole car, and I'm not really willing to do that at this point. So I might at some point, but replaced one of the wiper blades. It failed inspection. That took forever to find, but alright, let me show you some of the stuff. Okay, I'll start with the passenger side, since that's where the problem was with the airbag. So as I detailed in the last video, how to take it apart and everything like that, which I did. I replaced the airbag, which it turns out is kind of also shared from a Jaguar with a used one, and then I took the seat cover in to get it repaired to an upholstery shop. So again, if you know where to look, you'll see the crack right here from where it was torn a little bit. Most people don't even really notice that. Put it all back together, and it looks fine, works great. I did have one problem. One of the things is, like a lot of cars, it's got a passenger airbag sensor, which was saying that I forget, it was or wasn't occupied, and I tried to shotgun parts at it by replacing one of the modules under the seat for $100. That didn't do the trick. So long story short, ended up having to get it taken to dealership, where it almost even stumped them, but they finally got it fixed. Trying to think what else I mentioned in the last video. Oh, so I did let's see. Oh, I did have to replace the alarm module. It was behind the rear tire. Again, a lot of these parts are used in other cars, so if you know, if you can kind of cross-reference the part, you can find them. You know, it's famous for using the Volvo nav system and key and everything. But so, oh, just other real quick thing too, just because I know that it's an issue with some people. So when I redid the tires, I replaced the tire pressure monitor sensors. Because they were old, I think the batteries are getting ready to go. I had the tires off, had the rims off, had to take them out anyways. I did the rims. Got new ones off of eBay, and interestingly enough, 3 of the 4 worked right away. But then the 4th one, for some reason, it won't sync up. So I've got a warning light on the dash. I'll get that taken care of probably when I bring it in for an oil change. Other than that, you know, it's a lot of fun to drive, as you might imagine. I'm not going to take it on a drive. If people want me to do the typical Vantage drive, I guess post a comment, maybe I'll do one, but there's no way, unfortunately, to do MP3 factory-wise, so I'll either have to do an FM adapter, or there is a video on YouTube about how to disconnect the CD player and plug something in. I might do that, but right now it's either the radio or CDs. So, you know, even though it's got the paddle shifters, after a while, you kind of get tired of doing it. I do really wish it was the manual, but, you know, kind of beggars can't be choosers. So, if I was buying something, but this is the one I found, the condition it was in. So, that's pretty much it. You know, sometimes at low speeds, the automatic clutch thing can get kind of confused a little bit, but so I've put about 3,000 miles on it. It's up to 18,000 miles now. You know, I didn't keep track of all the receipts and all the money I spent on it. You know, I probably spent probably at least 6 to 8 grand on it. You know, the body work and the parts and everything. I did all the work myself, except the body work. So I think I mentioned before, I bought it for 22, put 6 to 8 grand in it, you know, maybe 10. So I'm into it for 32, which, you know, for a car like this with only 18,000 miles, I'm going to assume I'm ahead of the game, at least based on what I've seen. So that's pretty much it, I think. Not much else to say. Gone to a couple car shows. People love it, you know. One of the things I like about it is that it's kind of exotic enough where people know, if people know, they like it. Even if they don't know, they love the looks of it. So when you go to these car shows, you'll see these Lamborghinis and Ferraris and everything like that. But, you know, I just never see those cars out on the road, right? They never just seem like they're going back and forth to work in them, which I do in this car. So, you know, they're fun and everything. I don't knock the Lamborghinis, but, you know, you just must be so worried about it whenever you're driving it around. This car, you just drive it around. Some people notice it, some people don't. But, you know, what would you rather have, this or a certified pre-owned BMW or Audi or Mercedes or something? So, or a new Buick. So it doesn't have much trunk space, so sometimes you can't take it some places. Got something you want to go to do, but I'll go to Home Depot with it, or just to pick up a bolt or screw or something, and having a lot of fun with it. Oh, so one last thing that I do need to fix still, again, it's a known issue with these cars, is in the interior here. You've got the leather that's peeling here and up there. So I've seen a video on how to remove these panels, and so it's probably due to the heat and the bad glues from what I've heard. But I'll remove them probably in the wintertime when I'm not driving it. I'll either send them off or take them to the upholstery shop, get them fixed. So if there's anything I've forgotten, anybody's got any questions, you know, post it in the comments, and I'll answer it there. Thanks.